Bulavinaka, my name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rock.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selina, I'm from Tavenga Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news tonight, meningococcal vaccine may cost around $40 million. Schools damaged by recent tropical cyclones. And Speaker gives NFP leader 10-minute suspension.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
But first up, any Fijian citizen who resides in Fiji and is a Fiji Electricity Authority customer can become a shareholder with the authority. This was revealed by the Public Enterprises Minister Ayaz Said Kayum in Parliament today. These shares will be free of charge to domestic electricity customers. Said Kayum also made it clear that government will not privatise FEA, but will only be partially divesting shares. He adds government will continue to hold 51% of shares in FEA.
We will also be giving out shares to all account holders, and Madam Speaker, there will be some announcements made about that in this week, Madam Speaker, and of course the rollout of the corporatisation of FEA.
Around 345,000 Fijians under the age of 19 will soon be administered the meningococcal strain C vaccine. This was confirmed by Attorney General Ayaz Said Kayum, adding the Cabinet has approved the purchase or procurement of the vaccine. However, Akosita Tale reports there are some difficulties in getting it.
Close to a month since the meningococcal disease outbreak was declared, the government says it's working together with the World Health Organization and the UNICEF to ensure we can access the meningococcal C vaccine soon.
What steps are being taken by the ministry in ensuring that there is uniformity in prices of meningococcal vaccines retailed by pharmacies?
Currently, WHO, in fact, and UNICEF are trying to source these drugs for us. As you know, all these drugs are actually made, or vaccines are made by the private sector, large pharmaceutical companies. And because there's a huge demand for it also in Africa, there's a worldwide demand for these vaccines.
Ayaz Said Kayum says many local pharmacies are procuring the vaccines individually, but the government is going through the WHO and UNICEF.
We had originally approved $10 million. We may now need to approve up to $40 million. Because of the huge pressure on accessibility of these vaccines. There are two issues. One is the pricing, and the other one, of course, is the actual stockpile of these vaccines being made available.
Said Kayum says the ministry has also been informed that all the vials required by Fiji to vaccinate those under the age of 19 may not be available. As of this year, there have been 38 confirmed cases of meningococcal disease. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
National Federation Party leader Professor Biman Prasad was suspended from Parliament for 10 minutes today after opposing the Speaker's ruling. Professor Prasad raised a point of order regarding a supplementary question asked by opposition MP Parmod Chand on the airfares to Lambasa being expensive. Tension grew between Prasad, the Attorney General and the Speaker, with the NFP finally being sent out for 10 minutes. Anna Ravulo with the details.
Get your facts right.
Things got heated up after the Attorney General said the opposition side personalizes agendas. Professor Biman Prasad then raised a point of order to which the Speaker said was not a point of order.
Stop accusing us of having a personal agenda. Stop personalizing the issue. Stop referring to Northern Air as the owner being...
Order. That is not a point of order. As you
It is a point of order.
No. Point of order is only on the...
Said Kayum then raised a concern on why Prasad kept insisting that it was a point of order when the Speaker had ruled otherwise.
The Speaker has said it is not a point of order, and while sitting down, he is saying it is a point of order. Who is he to say that? Who is he to say that when the Madam Speaker has said it is not a point of order? You are not the Speaker. Get it right.
Madam Speaker, I just want to make... This is not the first time that the Honourable Attorney General has referred to me as he is the Speaker. He is not the Speaker.
I am on my feet. Honourable Member, you have made a few instances in the past that you have not listened to the point of order or to the ruling by the Speaker. And this time you've done exactly the same yet again. And therefore, under the Standing Order 75, I now exercise my power to suspend you from Parliament for 10 minutes with immediate effect.
The supplementary question followed a question asked by Government MP Howard Politini on the security of the Fiji Airways fleet after TC Kenny. Anna Rovulo, FBC News.
19 schools were damaged as a result of the recent tropical cyclones. Education Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum told Parliament today the worst affected schools are in the Western and Eastern divisions. The minister also noted a number of teachers' quarters are damaged. Maggie Boyle reports.
Schools continue to bear the brunt of natural disasters.
A total of 19 schools were either partially damaged or destroyed in the wake of Cyclone Gita, Cyclone Josie and Cyclone Kenny. Of these schools, Madam Speaker, there are 9 schools in the Western Division that are affected by the flood and landslide, and 10 schools in the Eastern Division that were affected structurally.
Opposition MP Nico Nawaikula questioned whether future reconstruction will be cyclone-proof after rebuilt St. John's College in Levuka suffered some damage this year.
I did not want to actually highlight it, but I knew that Honourable Member would try and score political points. The St. John's College rebuild, Madam Speaker, was actually not done by us. It was done by the US Navy.
And with a number of schools built by foreign governments post-TC Winston, Opposition MP Josefa Ndulaki Verata questioned their accountability.
If someone wants to come and build a building here, do they comply with the local standard and do they coordinate with the local authority to ensure that they comply with the local standard?
After Cyclone Winston, obviously at that time a lot of people wanted to come and contribute, and perhaps at that time we should have gone and said to the US Navy, this is the structure, these are the standards you need to adhere to, but we did not do that. I suppose there was an assumption that if the US Navy is building it, it would be okay.
Said Qayyum explained there are no fixed timelines in place for the reconstruction of damaged schools, with assessments still underway in the Eastern Division. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The Australian government is providing $85,000 to the Fiji Red Cross Society to distribute hygiene and sanitary supplies to those hardest hit by TC Kenny. The support comes after Fiji's request for assistance following the devastation caused by the Category 3 storm. TC Kenny compounded the devastation caused by TC Josie last week, which caused significant flooding, particularly in the Western and the Northern divisions. Australia provided up to $50,000 to the government in support of relief efforts in response to TC Josie. The Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade says Australia stands ready to provide further assistance if required. Lambasa police are looking for a woman alleged to have stolen a newborn baby from the antenatal ward of the Lambasa hospital yesterday morning. FBC News understands the woman was at the hospital visiting a sick relative when she came across the crying baby, one of twins. With the pretext of pacifying the infant, the woman walked out of the hospital, unbeknownst to the mother, who was breastfeeding the other twin. Nurses were alerted, and after a thorough search at the hospital, a report was filed with police. A taxi driver then alerted police that he had dropped a woman and a baby at the Vatunimbale police barracks. When police arrived, the woman ran to the back of the house and, in her attempt to run away from police, dropped the baby in a drain. The baby is at the hospital and suffered no injuries in the incident. Still to come, development program aimed to address Yangona shortage. And unhealthy eating habits are a concern in Fiji. Stay with us.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo tali taka na varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Ito kami nasong butikola, ndo tali taka na Radio Fiji 1 kina Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuyago sila tali, nagurara may naomanyi, nandunga. Gitu tali taki yang gitu Venezuela, nagudurong varorong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na bonga ni BNN.
The search for a man who is missing in the Ngawa River in Lambasa following a boat collision continues. These two fiberglass boats collided at a bend behind the FSC Lambasa mill yesterday afternoon. The man was allegedly thrown overboard due to the impact of the crash. Two others involved in the incident received injuries and are admitted at the Lambasa hospital. Police say the boat going up the river came from Dhawira and was driven by a 15-year-old student who lost control and collided with the oncoming boat. Today, a police dive team was scavenging the river looking for the missing man. They are being helped by villagers. The Fiji Electricity Authority has invested $28.7 million on the construction of rural electrification scheme across the country. While presenting FEA's 2015 annual report to Parliament this morning, Economic Affairs Standing Committee Chair Lorna Eden said of this amount, $5 million was used for 54 rural electrification projects. Rachel Nath reports.
Fiji Electricity Authority carried out a number of power assistance enforcement work in rural communities in 2015 and at the same time maintained a sound financial record.
They also managed to record a profit of $39.7 million after tax, which was a marked improvement over the $0.97 million turned over in 2014. Also in 2015, Madam Speaker, FEA carried out capital expenditure works totaling around $80.6 million. They also repaid matured bonds and loans aggregating to $56.8 million.
The opposition also had something to say about FEA's goal to achieve sustainable electricity by 2025.
The formula to this, Madam Speaker, is to encourage more resource owners to come into renewable energy.
The committee actually points out that FEA is well structured to provide 90% of renewable energy by 2025. Madam Speaker, I'm not sure whether that's a realistic plan and whether FEA is or will be on target to achieve that.
The Public Enterprise Minister also reminded the House about a number of initiatives following Fiji's presidency of COP23 were on foot. Rachel Nath, FBC News.
A man who is alleged to have robbed and stabbed a 38-year-old carrier driver in Momi Bay last Friday appeared in the Nandi Magistrates Court today. Samuela Salamba is accused of robbing carrier driver Abdul Farouk of over $1,000 cash while carrying an offensive weapon. Salamba is also alleged to have been in possession of illicit drugs on that day. He is charged with 1 count of aggravated robbery and 1 count of unlawful possession of illicit drugs. He will reappear at the Lautoka High Court next Wednesday. The Agriculture Ministry has introduced a development program to address the current yangona shortage in the country. Acting Agriculture Minister Ratuosea Nangamu, while responding to a question on the shortage in Parliament, made the revelation. Nangamu says the ministry is aware of the problem. Nangamu says the effects of climate change might hinder their efforts. However, the government is confident with the new development program.
More than 300,000 of planting materials have been distributed to different locations around Fiji. There is a renewed interest in farmers who are captivated to go into yangona cultivation. Farmers are assisted in terms of materials for farmhouses to allow them to stay in their own plantation.
Changes in eating habits amongst Fijians is causing a high number of non-communicable diseases in the country. National Advisor for NCD, Dr. Isimeli Tukana, says this is worrying as people are resorting to fast food daily. Catherine Krishna reports.
Parents play a huge role in promoting healthy eating at home and ensure healthy meals are prepared.
More mothers are working now, so it's a challenge for them to prepare food for the family because there's a factor coming in. They need to go and earn money. So hopefully through the media we can help, say, women's group on how can a working mother make healthy foods for the family and go to work at the same time.
Diabetes Fiji West Chair Dr. Chone Hawea says Fiji has fresh fruits and vegetables in abundance and we need to consume more of it.
It's about putting the right food on the plate and making sure that children are eating this and the parents themselves are also eating this. And it takes only about 3 weeks for habits to change.
Hawea says children will only follow what their parents do, therefore eating healthy must be a priority. He says Fijians love their food, however fresher choices need to be made, especially during feasts. Catherine Krishna, FBC News.
Around 100 staff of Neptune Pacific Line worldwide shaved their heads as part of the Walk On, Walk Strong, Shave It or Save It campaign. Managing Director Rolf Rasmussen says they shaved their heads to support children with cancer and their families, and also emphasize that they are not alone in the fight. The event was held in Suva to raise awareness and funds for children diagnosed with cancer.
And as a corporate, you need to give back to the community where you work and live. You know, we're right across the Pacific. It is our home, so why not have our staff give back to the communities in which they live.
In sports later with Jamie, FNRL says they cannot afford the coach, but we now join Rachel with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening, and coming up in business tonight. Fiji Airports hosts workshop for Pacific Island states. And in growing Fiji, rehabilitation on Korovuli Senganga stretch nears completion. Stay with us.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची FM सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची FM is number 1. It's so hot.
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची FM सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची FM is hot.
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची FM सुनते हैं। मिर्ची FM is hot. I love मिर्ची FM.
हमें स्पिन टोटो ताबुआ के मिर्ची FM में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची FM, it's hot.
In business tonight, Fiji Airports is currently hosting a high-level international civil aviation organization meeting for Pacific Island states. The Common Regional Virtual Private Network Workshop will help the island states better understand the various solutions for CRV and to strengthen cooperation in the Asia-Pacific region. Philip Nakaso has more.
Looking at ways to further improve air navigation will top discussions between these participants over the next few days in Nadi.
What we are trying to achieve over here is to have a common network that is shared between different states. So if you have an aircraft coming from a different airspace into another airspace, the data is readily and virtually shared with each state so that it makes navigation more efficient.
Though the Pacific has lower aircraft traffic, having an up-to-date system is critical when dealing with aircrafts.
What that means is we are trying to enhance and develop our system based on how an air navigation service provider communicates with various airlines and aircrafts whilst they are navigating through the airspace.
So the importance of today is really working with the Pacific Island states to make sure that we work on a solution that's cost affordable, that will enable the Pacific Island states to communicate more broadly with the Asia-Pacific region and with regards to aeronautical messaging.
The participants from 18 countries are sharing ideas that will help achieve better airspace communication. Felipe Naicaso, FBC News.
And we now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the financial market.
Thank you. Let's review the activity on the South Pacific Stock Exchange last week. Freebird Institute, Fiji Television, VB Holdings and Vision Investments were the stocks traded. 8,308 shares exchanged hands in 6 transactions. Total consideration amounted to $23,099. Fiji TV shares recorded a growth of 1.85% to end the week at $2.20, while VB Holding shares rose by 4.35% to close at a best price of $6. The overall market capitalization increased by 0.05% and concluded the week at a value of $2.06 billion. And that's the wrap from our local stock market. Vinaka.
Thanks for the update, Sharon. Let's take a look at today's currency exchange rates set this morning for the Fijian dollar. The Fiji dollar rose against the US and the New Zealand dollars, as well as the PNG Kina and the Japanese yen. Looking at the commodities market, oil were on the rise as oil prices rose to $67.3 per barrel. Gold was up as well to close at $1,344 an ounce, and silver closed at $16.61 an ounce. And Anywhere in Fiji tonight, travelling between Lambasa and Senganga will be a lot more smoother once major road rehabilitation between the two towns is completed. The wet weather from the two recent tropical cyclones had a little impact on the rehabilitation of the Korovuli to Senganga stretch. Fulton Hogan Highways has started overlaying base course material on the road outside Senganga. The rehabilitation site will also be reinforced with cement stabilization to add strength before the first 500-meter portion is resealed. Rehabilitation should be completed by the end of April. And that's it from Business this evening. Here's Jamie with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Rachel, and good evening in sports tonight. The Mickey Eyes Blue Ribbon event and Boys Division title. And 17-year-old cricketer eager for a spot in the national team. This and more coming up.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकु रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ. मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1. इट्स सो हॉट.
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे. मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट.
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेफ्रिकी से. मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं. मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट. आई लव मिर्ची एफएम.
हमें स्पिन टको ताबुआ के मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
First up in sports tonight, Fiji's contingent to the Commonwealth Games in Australia has returned. The team is currently at the Fasanok office in Suva. Vasnil Prasad joins us live now from there with the latest. Vasnil.
Yes, Jamie, we are here at Fasanok where Team Fiji has just arrived a while ago. The athletes have departed for their homes, but with me is CEO of Fasanok, Lorraine Ma. Ma'am, thank you very much. And how was our outing for Team Fiji in this year's Commonwealth Games?
Well, I think I don't have to say it. You've reported it well enough. But we've been very pleased with this outing. I mean, but it's been a long time since we've come back from a Commonwealth Games with 1 gold medal, 1 silver and 2 bronze. So an outing that I think has made Fiji proud, I hope. And I know that the athletes are very happy and proud themselves, you know, that they have taken themselves to this level of competition.
Unfortunately for the Sevens, but looking at the medals, the other sport got like boxing and weightlifting, I believe more focus now should be on the minor sport and building the athletes towards the major games ahead.
Well, I'm not sure if we should say talking about minor sports. I think the focus should be on identified athletes. You know, I mean, we know the athletes who have the potential, particularly after these games. And so we should be focusing very strategically on how we can get these athletes to perform well at the Olympic Games.
There you go, a lot to work for Fasanok as they will now prepare for the Pacific Games next year. Jamie.
Meanwhile, Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber is impressed with the overall performance of the national team at the Commonwealth Games.
But I was really pleased with the efforts that we've made over the last couple of weeks. We took a team to Hong Kong, and the team that went to Hong Kong came here, and one of the few teams that did that. And to put ourselves in a final and get there, I think that just after half-time we had a break against New Zealand. Had we scored off of that one, then we possibly would create a bit of momentum. But in all fairness to New Zealand.
World Rugby is impressed with Fiji's bid to host a 7 series, but says they have to look at a number of areas before releasing their new list of venues. Head of Competition and Performance, Mark Egan, says player welfare is one of the major areas they'll be looking at. A group of experts led by Egan were in Fiji last month to oversee the venue and other factors to be considered before making a decision.
Expectations are very high from the athletes. Player welfare is our #1 priority around training venues, medical support, the venue itself. So there's a lot of issues that we have to take into consideration to ensure that we have the best possible series for the athletes and for the growth of the sport.
Fiji National Rugby League Chief Executive Timothy Nalemba says they can no longer afford Fiji Mbati's coach Mick Potter. Potter resigned from his position last Friday. Nalemba says they could not match the salary offered to Potter by the Newcastle Knights. Potter guided the Fiji Mbati to a historic win over New Zealand and a 3rd consecutive World Cup semi-final berth last year.
Mick Potter, we've engaged him for the last 2 years, but only on basis of test matches. He did not sign a full contract. Since he was contracted by an NRL club, his salary there was quite substantial, and we couldn't match that here.
Marist Brothers High School sprinter Tony Lemeki will spearhead the Red Fire camp, aiming to reclaim the boys division title at the Coca-Cola Games this year. With eyes already fixed on the Blue Ribbon event, Lemeki wants to make his final year in school even more memorable. Eroni Tuinuku reports.
Winning the Blue Ribbon event in their inter-house competition and their zone meet still hasn't satisfied the young athlete as he aims for the top at the Coca-Cola Games.
Before I leave, I think I'm aiming to leave a mark this year's game, as it will be my last Coca-Cola Games, and also to come out victorious in the boys overall division.
Competing against the best in the country means dedication and sacrifice for Lemeki as he aims to restore the lost glory in the 100 meters event.
Honestly, I think I'm ready. I think I put in the hard work already, and it's just on the day to apply everything that I've been taught by my coaches. So,
once known as the giants of secondary school athletics, Marist Brothers High School athletes know what it takes to win the title.
Always we respect all other teams, Natambua, Arceus, KVS. They are all strong teams. Judging from previous years, as coaching has been upgraded.
A total of 83 athletes will represent Marist Brothers High School as they aim to claim back the boys' title in the Coca-Cola Games this weekend. Eroni Tuinuku, FBC Sports.
The Maritime Zone competition was held at the ANZ Stadium in Suva today. Despite few athletes competing this year, the games were hailed a success by organizers who say bigger schools should be wary of a few maritime athletes this weekend. Meli Tavanga has more.
Schools competing in the Maritime Zone Meet competition today prove they have what is needed to face dominant schools come the Co-Games.
I think they're in for quality performance, and that should be a good indication as far as the Coca-Cola Games is concerned. We would like very much to grab some medals and take it away to the islands. I think that's the whole thing behind this meet.
This is the first time in recent years that more than 3 schools taking part in the Maritime Zone.
Number of athletes have decreased. Some of the schools that are coming in with only 4 athletes, some are coming in with only 6 athletes. I think the biggest contingent here is made up of just 16 athletes. Number of athletes have decreased, but the quality have increased, and that's a big bonus to this zone.
Meanwhile, Andi Mauapa Secondary School had the smallest contingent coming at the zone meet.
Getting the students here to compete is hard, and it costs us a lot of money. And that's the whole reason why there was a decrease in the number of students of Andi Mauapa. This is our best four who can win medals for us.
The students now have 2 days to prepare for the Co-Games that kick off at Suva's ANZ Stadium on Thursday. Meli Tabanga, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the Asawa North team has been crowned champions in the boys division after bagging 7 gold medals, while the Via Secondary School finished first in the girls division, also with 7 gold medals. Being selected for Cricket Fiji senior men's extended squad came as a surprise to young Choniada Quilondoni. The 17-year-old says his next aim is to make it to the final squad for the sub-regional World Cup qualifiers that will be held in August. Luciana Tangidakimba reports.
Competing against experienced cricketers to impress selectors will not be easy, but Choniada Quilondoni is ready for the challenge.
Real hard. It's been challenging for me, because there's many older men that's challenging in a senior team.
Yada Quilondoni says he will not let his age come in the way of his success.
Motivated my career, for me, my life, my family, to to represent Fiji under 19 in the men's team. So yeah, I'll do my best. And so the rest of the senior team, that I'm younger.
Cricket Fiji will select the final 18-member squad this week.
They're going to line the matches today right up till Wednesday when we announce the 18-member squad. Obviously from the 18 there will be 4 reserves, but those 4 reserves won't be announced until June, the end of
The Sub-Regional World Cup qualifiers will be held from the 25th to the 30th of August. Luciana Tangitha-Kimbau, FBC Sports.
That's it from Sports Tonight. Join Angie later on with weather and in new media. Gmail will soon get a redesign. Details coming up.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoi Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Si kombinasyon mo tikola ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kina Domoi Viti.
Ayaw ko yazo sila tale, nagurara may nawamanyi, nandunga. Gitu talita kini ang gitu pinasibale, nagudurong barong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoi Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoi Viti na ponga ni BNN.
New media tonight, brace yourself as Google says it's working on some major updates for emails. Let's see what the likely changes will be. And it's weather time now with Angie.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. A lot has been happening with the weather lately, but currently it has changed to all sunshiny weather with sprinkles of rain in few areas. It's quite cloudy at the same time too, and do keep warm as the nights are becoming much more chillier. Taking a look in the west for today, all beautifully sunnier with not much sign of rain. Eastwards from Pekhabarasuva, such a splendid day with lots of sun and slight rain. And up north, all clear and bright as well. At sea, southeast winds gusting up to 30 knots with very rough seas. For the tides, high tide will be at 7:16 a.m. with low tide at 1:34 p.m. Sunrise will be at 6:15. For tomorrow, it looks like a cool and calm day with light rain. Tomorrow's temps, majority centers will be in the low 30s. And looking further on to Wednesday, we could have a bit of heavy rain, but wishing for more sunshine. And that's all from the FBC Weather World. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we asked, should minor sports be given more focus for competition at the international level?
They should be exposed to the international arena too.
I think minor sports should be given recognition because they are the one who make us proud in international competition.
Yes, they should be given more importance so that the team can perform better next time.
Yes, sure. It should be given a minor focus because we are focusing a lot on rugby and some of the sports athletes from minor sports, they want to be recognized by mostly by the locals and internationally. Thank you.
Yes, so that there is more exposure to minor sports.
Especially to our upcoming generation, where they should be encouraged to, so that they can be exposed and exposed into main arenas and main games around the world.
Yes, so that our younger youth is more educated on this.
To be given a good opportunity to our children who's coming up in the generation.
When they exposed to international sport, they will earn money and help their family too.
Recapping the main stories, meningococcal vaccine may cost around $40 million. 19 schools damaged by recent tropical cyclones, and Speaker gives NFP leader 10-minute suspension. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, the results from last week, we had asked, should Gareth Baber be given a contract to coach the national team until the next Olympics? 87% said yes. This week we are asking, should harsher sentences be given out to those attacking police officers? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, our shot of the day sent in by Thomas Newton. The beautiful sunset was captured from Nandi Westfield. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply #FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, have a safe and enjoyable evening. Good night.
Wrong on the Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon mo tikola untuk talita na Radio Fiji 1 kena Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuyazo sila tale. Nagurara may nawamanyi. Nandunga. Gitu talita gini ang gitu Venezuela. Nanggunto rongo. Barrongo na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na Ponga ni BNN.